So welcome to the Built for the Trades podcast. This is a part 2 of the interview I did with Chris Klein, owner of Yoakum Plumbing out of Santa Clarita, California. And what I wanted to do is pull out a couple leadership lessons that I learned during the interview process, dive into those a little deeper. And then I also wanted to share a little bit about the branding, the marketing that Chris shared during that interview. There was just some really great things shared that I think as a trades business owner out there can take that away and really apply it to what you're doing today. The first leadership principle I wanted to pull out was really the fulfillment piece that Chris talked about. You know, he shared the story about working for the government and how he did not feel fulfilled. And I found that very interesting because early in the podcast, we didn't really dive into what that looks like. But later on, he explained more of what fulfillment looked like to him. And in doing so, he talked about serving others, serving people around him. One really unique thing about Yoakum Plumbing is that they take people who have great core values, are hardworking, but not necessarily raised in the best environments, and they mentor, coach, train those people, build relationships, build a trust foundation to make them not only great team members at Yoakum, but just great people in general, great leaders who wake up every day to be a good part of the team and to serve their customers. And that's really where Chris started to find that fulfillment. He said a quote that was just like blew my mind when I listened back to it, but he said, you know, success is leaving a legacy. He talked about Mark Yoakum, one of the founders of Yoakum Plumbing, and he said one thing that about life is it's not always take. You have to have give as well. And one thing I hear from a lot of business owners is almost talk about their team members as, you know, using them to just produce money. And when you have that mindset and it becomes all about the money, your whole culture becomes all about the money. It's really got to be about serving your team member and helping them to be better, helping them to achieve the goals and the dream that they want for their life. And in return, you're going to get to achieve the goals and the dream you want for your life. So it's really about serving those around you. And that's where Chris found his purpose, was in serving his team and serving his customers. I love the story he told about the example his dad set, Vern Klein, about, you know, going out and building relationships with people. And he said, you know, that's really what it's about. Success is about building relationships with people, and how he can go back to customers that are 40-year customers and they'll still talk about the relationships that his dad built with them just by spending time talking to him. So all that, just that fulfillment piece really stood out. So I wanted to start the podcast off by talking about that. It's not always it's not always take. You have to have some, you know, give in life, and realizing, are you truly living your purpose? And the purpose is, you know, in life is about helping the people around you to become more successful in whatever that looks like. And that takes building relationships with people. The other principle I really enjoyed, you know, besides that piece, was the fact that he is standing on the shoulder of his dad, Vern and Mark, and really allowing him as the owner of Yoakum Plumbing to elevate to the point where he's at today. You see, I'm a second generation tradesman. He's a second generation tradesman. And I can really resonate with that, because growing up in a family business, a lot of times you see the past as almost an inconvenience to your future, because there's hurdles that you have to overcome. One hurdle he shared was taking his business from a time and material business to a flat rate business. And for home service businesses out there, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's a different mindset. And growing up in a family business, a lot of the old school mindset is that will never work. We'll lose our customers. It's not going to be successful. And really, Chris proved, he's proved over the last few years that not only that it can be successful, but it can be wildly successful. And so instead of seeing what your family members or that previous generation has done as an inconvenience, looking at it as an opportunity that they have worked hard to set you up for success, and you're standing on the shoulders. And so you're seeing it as a blessing instead of a curse. And once you change that mindset, you can really start to have breakthrough in communication with your family members and realize that, okay, there is a better way, and we're going to work together as a team to achieve that better way. And so I loved Chris talking about that, and I just want everybody to realize that that is a great leadership principle, is to seeing that as a positive thing when you're standing on the shoulders of the previous generation who's helped you get there. You do that, it's going to bleed out into your team, and everybody's going to see this as a positive thing instead of a negative thing like, oh, my dad's holding me back, he doesn't want to change, he doesn't want to do all those things, because I know that resonates for some people listening out there in our audience today. All right, so the marketing piece, I wanted to just recap real quick. So Yoakum Plumbing, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see I'm sporting a Yoakum Plumbing hat. I also have a logo right here in my water bottle. Great company. Chris shares a story about how the Yoakum Plumbing logo came to be. But, I coach with Chris. I've been to his shop. I've talked to people in the community. I've seen his reviews. They have a great brand, a dominating brand in their market. And one thing Chris shared was the importance of magnets and stickers, and how he's still coming across magnets that are from the 70s that customers are still calling back based on those magnets. And so that's the first thing I want to get across to everybody out there listening is, if you don't have magnets and stickers for your business, please stop what you're doing and order those magnets and stickers and start placing those. Give those to customers, place them on the disposals, place them on the HVAC units, place them on the water heaters, or wherever it is that you're serving, because when a customer is in need, they're going to go to that sticker, they're going to call that number. It's just the way it works, and that is a great branding tool. But he also shared a competition that I thought was really cool. What he does is he has his technicians take pictures of themselves with the sticker at the unit, and they share that with his office manager, who also helps with his marketing. And they end up sharing those pictures on social media for all the customers to see. And it really not only creates a brand in the home that they're working in with leaving the stickers and magnets there, but it creates just a fun environment, on social media. It builds credibility in your business. The customers see, wow, they're installing a lot of disposals, or they're installing a lot of units in these homes, and they're serving a lot of great customers, happy customers who leave great reviews. And then they end up rewarding their technicians with a little spin of their will that they do during their training. That's a great culture building thing, and they give back to their team for the hard work they're putting in. So it's that give and take mentality, but it goes both ways. It helps the business, it helps the customer, and it helps the team members involved. So if you're doing some kind of cool branding competition like that, I'd love to see comments, hear what you're doing, share that with us. But it was just too good not to share in this recap. All right, so 2 more leadership principles that I pulled from this podcast. One is the importance of core values in your business. It is literally one of the most important things that you can do to your business. It defines your culture. And the way that I define culture is it's your core values plus your accountability to those core values. Because it's one thing to have core values on the wall and never talk about them. It's another thing to have core values on the wall, talk about them daily, hold your team accountable to them. And Chris shared a little bit about a core value analyzer that I want to share with people out there. And the way that works is, you take your team member, and let's say you're struggling with one team member. The first thing we do is we analyze people based on core values. So here at Built for the Trades, my core values is faith, integrity, responsibility, teamwork, and progression. And so I'm going to take, and I am going to have a piece of paper, those core values on it. I'm going to put that person's name, put a date on there, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to analyze based on those core values. And I'm going to put a plus next to that core value if that person is achieving that core value more than 70% of the time. I'm going to put a plus minus if it's 50-50, and I'm going to put a minus if it's less than 50% of the time. And what I'm looking for is I want to have team members with absolutely no minuses on their analyzer. If there is a minus there, and I know there's an issue, say with teamwork on my core value, the way I define teamwork is accountability, positivity, and relationship, I'm gonna pull that team member in and have that conversation with them. Maybe it's a positivity thing. Maybe they're often negative and they're bringing the team down. I'm gonna have that conversation, give them a chance to improve, but it helps keep people in line to the core values here at Built for the Trades. And Chris shared a little bit about how powerful that is in his business there at Yoakum Plumbing. So hopefully that helps you out there, realizing that your core values define your culture, and it's your willingness to hold people accountable to those core values. So if you don't have core values, I'd love for you to take some time to build those. But really, even when people don't have core values on the wall, what I say is your culture and your business is a direct reflection of you, because you deep down have core values, and you deep down live by those core values, or you don't. I mean, it's your choice, but your team, your culture is a direct reflection of you as the leader. And then in closing this podcast, one of the last things we talked about, which is another great leadership principle, is that your company is only going to rise to your level of leadership. If I'm talking to business owners out there, your company is only going to grow to your level of leadership. There's something called a leadership lid, and it's the same thing if you have multiple leaders in your business, where maybe you have a service manager who's overseeing your technician department. That department will only rise to that service manager's level of leadership. They will put a cap on that every time. And one thing we talked about was the importance of the spouse in the relationship. Wow. If you're listening to this and you're not taking this serious, you haven't ran a business long enough. Because if you have, you've experienced what it's like to have a leader in your business who has a spouse who's not supportive, or just has a bad situation at home in their personal life, period. And so one thing I would encourage people to do out there is when you're hiring or promoting your leadership team, always, always, always take the spouse to dinner, to lunch. Get to know them just like you're getting to know that person that you're going to promote or hire in your business, because that 100% of the time will hinder their leadership growth. And you've probably heard that the people that help you get to where you're at today may not necessarily be the people that help you get to where you want to go in the future. And that is a direct example, is that certain people will be able to increase their leadership capacity to a certain level, but if they don't have a good support system at home, they don't have a good support system at work, they're never going to be able to elevate themselves to the next level that it takes in your business to help you achieve the goals and the vision that you want to achieve. So hope you enjoyed this podcast. This is just a recap session of the interview with Chris Klein. Chris, thank you for your time. It was awesome. I learned so much from you. Hope you all enjoyed this Built for the Trades podcast. Please subscribe or leave us a review if you have any comments or things that you're doing in your own business that you want to share with us here. We'd love to hear from you. Other than that, have a great day.